Right, today our retribution following us like a shadow, and so our karma, which will follow us life after life. So let's look at initial verse. The sentient beings face both circumstantial and direct retribution, and this is about the karma. Circumstantial, it's the circumstances in which we are born with, and that's the fixed, what called the fixed karma. And the karma they create is stored in the ape consciousness. We know that, and then follow them closely like shadows. And so therefore, the karma will follow us lifetime after lifetime until we settle those retribution on the karma. And the burning house of the three realms is created only by their minds, meaning all these things, the retribution that could be burning us and created by our own minds. So in Master explanation, our karmic consciousness storehouse conscious stores everything we've done in the past lifetime. This is an interesting question that Master posts. Can we recall what we have done 10 years ago? What about the past life? Brother Robert, I'm just mindful of the time. It's going to have a 7 o'clock session, right?
No, there's no 7 o'clock session today.
So it's okay, yeah?
Yeah, it's okay, please.
Okay, otherwise I won't elaborate too much. So it's okay. Okay, I'll go on then.
Yeah.
So I've been asked a number of times that why is it that when one is born in this lifetime, they cannot remember their past life? Now, if you understand how the consciousness works, then you then appreciate why that is the way. So when we think birth, I might remember the Master explained about the 12 cycling links of existence. So started from the ignorance and all the karmic retribution arising from that. When we take birth, the sensory organs are formed, right? So the mind that we have in this life, in this body that we have, is in this present life. So that's the sixth consciousness. But our eighth consciousness is not with the sixth consciousness, right? So they're separated. But obviously then we connect to the seventh consciousness, which is our habitual tendencies, our character. So when therefore if we can say that we have the mind of this lifetime, so how can a mind of this lifetime be remembering what is in the past? There's no connectivity. The only connectivity there is from the seventh and the eighth. Right? So then this consciousness, this mind consciousness that we have is confined to this lifetime. So then why is it that, but the Buddha could not remember, but the Buddha could have the vision to see all his past life? That's because the enlightened being is able to penetrate through all the way to the eighth consciousness, and therefore is able to undersee, and because of the purity of the consciousness, is able to get through to the level of consciousness. Now, if the eighth consciousness is filled with defilement and layered defilements, and an enlightened being like myself would be unable to penetrate those encrustations. So therefore, the enlightened being is able to remove all this encrustation from the eighth consciousness, and to be able then to see through. So it's like seeing through walls. So you have all these walls of encrustation. It's impossible to see through. But if we lifetime after lifetime we purify that, then we are able then to see the past life. So, but is it possible then someone who is practicing to have some premonition of or inkling of what the past life is? Yes, I know of one who had been told which year where he was, And because of his ardent practice and earnest practice, is able to, but he didn't see that. He was actually told by a master what it was in a past life. There are also people that who has a premonition through their contemplation or the meditation, be able to see part of the past life, right? So therefore, if we, then is it good or bad? And then there's no good, there's no bad. But the thing is like this. Imagine one, if you are able to see all your past life and you are not enlightened, an enlightened being, someone would then be filled with a lot of mental afflictions still. So that life will be quite miserable. That in everyone he meets and all these people that he had met may be past enemies. But in this lifetime, we are supposed to settle karmic scores. So imagine that now, if you can unenlightened, but seeing the past, and you got a lot of karmic scores to settle, this life is going to be miserable. So therefore, in other words, life is such that we have taken on this life to be able to start so-called with a clean slate, okay, clean slate from the viewpoint of the mind. So therefore, if you look at the mind of a child from a baby start to grow up, it's innocent. So it hasn't got any malice until the world teaches them, the worldly ways. Then the child, when they start growing up, will start to discriminate, they start to differentiate. That's the reason why if we want to be in practice, when we're in practice, we need to start unlearning the worldly ways. And otherwise, you'll be holding on all these mental afflictions in us. So that's, I'm trying to expand on this particular line that Master was mentioning. So in our interaction with others, when people are good to us, we are kind-hearted, and we will not forget to repay their grace. But we always remember those who treat us well. But so Master say, when we drink water, we think of the source. But for those who did not treat us well, remember them even more clearly. So we tend to remember, I guess, bad things more clearly than bad things. And we tend to overlook a lot of kindness that people have shown to us. So therefore, in the practice, and this is the part about the teachings from, obviously there are various schools of teachings. So one school will teach you that everyone that you meet is a mother sentient beings. So therefore you treat everyone with respect and with great love. But if we then expand that to say that everyone that we meet could have been your parents in the past, could be now expanded to be your sibling in the past, it could be your spouse in the past, or it could have been your spiritual benefactors in the past. We will expand that, and you have billions of lifetimes, you expand that network. You can then look at it that everyone that we meet in this lifetime or somewhere else now another have a relationship with. And this relationship could be our parents, our spouse, our sibling, or simply a benefactor or someone who has been kind to you in the past. So we cannot take anything with us when we die, but only our karma follow us into the next life. And the karma created is in our storehouse, which I just mentioned in the eighth consciousness. Therefore, in this lifetime of practice that we undertake is to purify as much as possible of those karmic seeds which is residing in the eighth consciousness or in our karmic storehouse. Okay, unless we do that, we cannot we will not be able to be enlightened. So our mental affliction or the bad habitual tendencies will still remain. So therefore, when we are born, our karmic affinities begin with our parents. Right? And after we are born, we choose where we want to be in a very wholesome environment. So that is about our mind. Our mind, it begins, as you observe, babies, a young child, they're innocent. But the thing is, when we start growing up, we start to learn about different ways, and we hurt others without knowing. We are destructive in our ways, and but that is a choice, because when the mind started to form, and the way the world teaches and educates the mind, and so they begin to discriminate, and that discrimination is because of the boundary. Whenever there's a boundary, you must choose. You are just A or a B, good or bad. So wholesome or unwholesome, and whatever in a worldly ways, whatever is a good, when you understand the Dharma, may not necessarily be wholesome in the perspective of, for example, if I were to be selfish in my ways to make certain gains, but I could very well be hurting another in the process of making those gains, for example. So we created negative causes in the past. Then we will have affinity from all this past of relationship, from all the bad deeds we may do, and then we will mix up with bad company that influences and go astray. So it's important, therefore, understand that when masters say grow in the wisdom life, growing in the wisdom life is to make the right choices in life. So for us as householders, we are not bound by strict discipline, like the monastics are. They have more than 200, and for the nuns they have more than 300 precepts to upkeep. But we don't. We only got 5 precepts and 10 wholesome deeds to upkeep. So therefore, we must therefore have the wisdom life to make those choices in our life, to make sure that it's in accord with the Dharma, and this is applying the Dharma into our daily life. So retribution follows, or karma follows like a shadow, and this is the way the life works. And so this depends on what we have done in the past. And so therefore, we need to undertake in this lifetime to purify as much as we can. Our life that comes through a certain karmic blueprint, because of the certain karmic blueprint, certain becomings will come to us. That's so therefore, when we live the wisdom life, we need to learn that why is this happening to us? What is it that I can do to purify that karmic happening, or the karmic becoming that arises? So that karmic becoming, or the life becoming, is either, as I mentioned in the past, there are generally there are only 3 things. One is a karmic lesson for you to learn, it's a karmic debt for you to repay, or karmic responsibility for you to fulfill. So in our pure Tathagata, Grappa has been obscured by our ignorance. And as I've said earlier, therefore, because of this, we need to remove that impurities so that we can then realize the Gapa consciousness, and then it begins to illuminate. So it's like a light within us, but it's being shrouded by layers and layers of incrustation. So if we're going to remove that, therefore it will illuminate. So in some ways, if you then understand the nature of, or the pure nature within us, there is nothing to attain, isn't it? Because if the Buddha nature is already in you, what is there to attain? All we need to do is to keep losing all this obscuration from us. So therefore, in the spiritual cultivation, and Sister Effie would probably relate to this very well, is we are on a path of losing everything. The more you lose, the more you illuminate from within. So the lessons learned. Where will we be in our next slide? Next slide be. Will we live in poverty? Will we be born as a royalty, so on and so forth? We don't know. But actually, the thing is, life is, Master said, actually life is equal. So it's our choices that we make that makes us unequal. So we all have an even chance as to what we want to be. And this is karma that determines where we are born and the kind of family that we were born into, and that is determined by all our past causes and causes and conditions that will arise. So then we need to be mindful of our behavior, and our thinking. So looking at this behavior and thinking, and you then relate back to the Noble Eightfold Path. But before a thought can arise, we need to have a right understanding. And that is what, and that only then with the right understanding, you could generate the right thoughts. Then the right thoughts, right speech, or right action that leads to the behavior, what it is. So therefore, to learn the Dharma, to have the right understanding. So we must care to contemplate this with great meticulousness in this, so then we can apply that in our daily life and live the wisdom life to make the right choices every day and every moment in the life in practice. So I'm not sure whether you heard of the story of Liao Fan. If you have not, it's an interesting story. This is about karma. Very briefly, Liao Fan was actually, if I remember correctly, he was actually an orphan, and was somehow, because of his season party, I mean his birthday and so on, was calculated that he was married to a daughter of a rich merchant, and he grew up and he got educated. But one day he stumbled upon a master. He told him that his life will end at about 50-ish. And that was his destiny because of his past karma. So with this, obviously that was worrying to him. And then he stumbled upon a Dharma master who then taught him about Dharma and how one should cultivate life. He obviously also learned about prayers and also doing good. And now he went through this period of time. And the point is that, to cut the long story short, he actually went to live on for, I think he actually lived on for another 20 years more, thereabouts. So he passed away in his 70s. So the story, if you read the story of Liao Fan, there are 4 lessons of life that he taught his son about this. So therefore, what I'm trying to say is, if you change your life, we're born with a karmic blueprint. Karma follow us. So therefore, some things will happen. But if we are in practice, that destiny is within your hands. That destiny, we're going to say that, oh, that's a fate, F-A-T-E, fate, and that will happen. No matter what I do, that's fate. So Liao Fan's story is, no, that's not fate. You say you have faith, you transform it to faith, F-A-I-T-H, faith in the Dharma. So when he actually practiced that, he actually managed to change his destiny. And this is where the story of Liao Fan that you may be able to listen or read about it. And you can actually listen to the story. It's in YouTube. I think you heard of this a few times that I mentioned this. Karma never loses an address, no matter where you are. So never whether you move house or otherwise, it always follows you. So when moving house, meaning you change from one body to the other, one life to the other, it will still be, you never loses an address. Okay, so you must remember that. That is a universal law of karma. So meddling in the process will stir the workings of karmas of others with you. So if sometimes you may hear that what I say, do not be meddlesome, do not be quarrelsome, and do not be troublesome. Okay, so when we start meddling in some people's life, we stir the workings of karma of others with you, and that will create what you call a whirlpool, and there will even be a bigger mess in the karma. Obviously, when I'm meddling, that's why I just remember these 3 things about meddlesome, quarrelsome, and troublesome. And so life will then be harmonious. So on relationships, you cannot avoid the world. Neither can the world will avoid you. This is circumstantial retribution. You cannot run away. So karmic scores must be settled. So you either learn from it, you repay it, or you fulfill the responsibility that is given to you. So grow from your relationships from there. Okay, Gan En brothers and sisters, thank you.
Awesome, BrotherChin, for the wonderful sharing, marvelous summary and marvelous insight to our wisdom at dawn, sharing by Master this morning. Yeah.